me put it on this side. Everybody have that?
Oh, thank you.
I have these even in the boxes. You want me to do it in numbers?
Yeah.
Tuesday was the first time I ever did a lab in numbers.
Did you like it?
Well, I was so hungover, I was okay with doing it. Didn't matter.
Could you do it in numbers but then say it? Like 23, inferior, missing.
Yes, I can do it.
Okay.
Okay, so are we all there? Everybody got page 30 numbered?
Sorry.
So this is where we left off with intercostal, this left intercostal arteries, 14L coming off the descending thoracic aorta, 13. Okay, I'm going to say this a few times. There will be some times where the veins are going to parallel the arteries. Take advantage of it because it makes it easier. Unfortunately, there's a few places where the veins do not parallel the arteries. This would be one example. For example, if the left intercostal arteries here in yellow come off the descending thoracic aorta in blue, then the left intercostal vein should dump into the inferior vena cava, and they don't. On the left side, they dump into the hemiazygous vein. So the light blue arrows are 53L, and the dark blue arrow is 52, hemiazygous vein. The right intercostal vein dumps into the azygous vein, and they are not symmetrical. That's why, remember, what did you write down on page 30 about saying right or left?
When you have a symmetrical counterpart.
That's the only time you say right or left is when you have a symmetrical counterpart. So since the azygous is not symmetrical to the hemiazygous, we don't use right or left. We call the right one azygous vein. We call this left one hemiazygous vein.
Okay.
You just got to know hemiazygous is on the left, azygous is on the right. Everybody got it? Everybody see that just above the dashed line?
Yes.
Everybody see that on page 3, just above the dashed line? Okay. All right. Now this is what I was saying in lecture this morning. When I go over these vessels, systemic arteries, I start from the heart going out. Systemic veins, I start from the extremities coming in, because it's sequential thinking. This is how you want to do this for Lab Exam 4. You don't want to memorize anything. You want to see things in your mind's eye as you go through this sequentially. That's why I teach it in this order. Are we clear?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, the other thing you have to write down here somewhere is that you have one set of arteries, and these are systemic, one set of systemic arteries. You have two sets of systemic veins. One set of arteries, two sets of veins. You have a deep set of veins that parallel the arteries. That's what it's saying up here on the slide. And then you have another set of superficial veins for which you have no arterial counterpart.
Say that again.
You have one set of arteries, two sets of veins. The deep set parallels the arteries.
Okay.
Then you have the second set of superficial veins for which there are no arterial counterparts. Why don't you have superficial arteries? Who wants to get a little scratch and have a squirter?
Oh, yeah.
When you cut yourself and you cut a vein, it oozes. You cut an artery, you got a squirter. I mean, come on, it's Halloween. This is the time for squirting blood. Right? See a movie, someone has a squirter, that means an artery got nicked. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
So, You don't have superficial arteries. There are a few places where the arteries come up to the surface, and that's where you can feel a pulse. You don't want to get cut where you can feel a pulse, because then you'll get a squirter. Are we clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what you want to do on the top right of page 30 is put a little star next to 43, 45, 46, 47, 43, 45, 46, 47.
43, 45.
Now look at the names of those four. Go to the left column. Do you see arteries by those names? No. Those, what you just started, are the superficial veins for which there are no arterial counterparts.
Okay.
Now look at the rest of them on the top right that you didn't star. Now compare it to the left column and you're going to see the same name.
Okay.
For the ones you didn't star, those are the deep veins that parallel the arteries. That's why you see brachial on both sides, you see radial on both sides. Everybody got it? Everybody understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at this guy that I put up here in the front of the front desk. In the arm you have this, and they kind of did this kind of funky because this is just floating. They didn't connect this to the radial or ulnar veins. But this is 50R, right venous palmar arch. Then other than that, the rest of these are superficial. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. On the lateral side is 43R, right cephalic vein. On the medial side in pink is 45R, right basilic vein. In orange is 47R, right median vein. And this is headed toward the basilic vein. But before it can hit the basilic vein, it crosses through the cubital fossa. You guys remember the diamond-shaped cubital fossa? As it goes through the cubital fossa there in green, it's called the right median cubital vein, 46R. So it's basically from this lane's coming off to where it merges. That's the median cubital vein. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Any questions? So same color arrows here. Red is 43R, right cephalic vein. Pink is 45R, right basilic vein, and there's a little bit of the right median cubital vein, 46R.
Do a lot of them change lanes? Like, is there a lot of lane changing? Okay.
And usually the names change when...
Right, that's
lanes-
why I'm asking.
There's going to be an exception in the leg, so pay attention when we get down.
Okay.
Turn to page 31. Page 31. Overall map of the Southland. What does cephalic mean? Head.
Head.
What's the name of this red one? Does that look like a head to you?
No.
Okay, it's going to make more sense in a second. Okay, but that didn't look like a head to me. But it's called right cephalic vein.
Okay.
All the deep veins eventually have to go. All the superficial veins, the blood eventually has to go deep because it's going to go to the heart. I would say the heart is pretty deep, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So eventually that blood's got to go deep. The reason why they call this the cephalic vein is because it finally goes deep, closer to the head than all the other ones. It finally goes deep, closer to the head than all the other superficial veins of the arm. Everybody got it? It goes deep at the level of the clavicle. All right, this little nub right here is a nub of the right brachial vein, 44R. And the manufacturer just cut it off right here, but you could see how it was going to parallel this right brachial artery. The right brachial vein parallels it. They just cut it off there. Everybody understand that? This is a big, long vein there that they cut off. But that little nub is the little nub of the right brachial vein. Where the right basilic vein here in pink goes deep, the freeway changes names to axillary.
Oh my God.
So the yellow arrow is 42R, right axillary vein. That's after the basilic vein goes deep and merges. Then at the level of the clavicle, the cephalic vein goes deep, and then it changes name again. Now this is underneath the clavicle. So what is the orange arrow called? Right subclavian vein. And that is 41R. In light blue is the right internal jugular vein, 39R.
That's a big one.
Light blue. Everybody got it?
Yep.
Okay, now look over there on the right where you see the carotids. Excuse me, the left column. See the carotid arteries? See how there's a common carotid artery? Now look on the page. 30. 4, 5, and 6. Everybody see 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah.
See the internal and external and the common?
Yes.
Now go straight across to the right. You see internal and external jugulars. Do you see a common?
No.
There is no common. The internal and external jugular veins do not fuse. Are we clear? All right, I don't know if you can write this down, because I don't even know if you're able to mentally write at all right now. But I'm going to say this slowly.
Okay.
It's up to you to catch it. By the way, this kind of having lab exams and still being demanding on you to push through, I had to write my department chair an email because, well, last semester in physiology was totally normal. Usually, and I teach it very consistently every semester because nursing programs, dental hygiene programs have to know my A's mean A, my B's mean B, my C's mean C, and non-passing grades means they weren't up to snuff, and that's consistent every semester, every year. That's why I teach it consistently every year. I do not drop my standards if I got a weak class. I do not raise them if I have a strong class. Are we clear?
Yeah.
1 year ago in fall, I had a normal physiology class, 38 passed, and it's within statistical significance before. Last semester, I had the strongest class I've ever had. I had 61 students finish. I had 61 students take the lecture final.
Wow.
And out of that, 51 passed. Usually it's 40. That is statistically significant. This semester, currently only 28 students are passing. So I had to write him an email. I said, well, I know we have had some part-time anatomy instructors, and so I just want to report it to you. Do you guys want to see some of the numbers?
Yeah.
Out of 17 students that were my anatomy students that started physiology, 12 are passing. Another full-timer here, I have 14 of her students. Only 7 are passing. Out of some part-timers, I have 7 students, and only 2 are passing. Another part-timer, I have 6 of his students, only 1 is passing. This right here, when you're tired and I make you push through, makes you a better student. And you're not a better student if teachers don't push it. And you can see it in the percentages. Now, again, this physiology class is weak. My students have an attrition rate right now in physiology of 29%, which is pretty high for my attrition rate for my anatomy students going into physiology. I've had just a handful of Mary Perry's students because that's been a couple years now. But she's at 40%. We are the only 2 under 50%. The other full-timers are at 50, the part-timers at 70, 80% attrition. Now, I know what students do. They go and rate my professor and find the easy, nice one. Eventually, you gotta pay the piper if you wanna do these careers. I make you pay the piper here when you're tired. Say, I don't give a fuck. I still gotta grade these things. Well, I'm not gonna grade them today. But I'm tired. If I'm gonna push through, I can, because my professors made me push through. If you're tired, I'm gonna make you push through. And that's why my students do better in physiology. Are we clear?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if you're tired. Tough shit. So you want to write this down. Jugular veins never fuse.
Okay.
The internal jugular vein is way bigger than the external. And that's because the internal jugular vein drains the cranial cavity. Do you remember what hole it comes out of the base of the skull?
Oh, yes. Jugular
Foramen, the jugular foramen. And that's why it's so huge, because the internal jugular vein is huge. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
The external jugular vein is just draining the skin on the side of the face. Okay? So it's tiny. And because of that, a lot of manufacturers are going to cut corners and only include the internal. So if you only see one, it's the internal.
Okay.
If you only see one, it's the internal. If a manufacturer does include it, it's tiny and it's lateral. The external jugular vein, because it never fuses, merges here lateral to the internal jugular vein.
When you say fuse, do you mean like
Fuse
touches
into a
or
common jugular
goes
vein.
Okay.
Because if it fuses, it would be a common jugular vein, and there is none. It never fuses. Okay? No common jugular veins. Are we clear? Well, this is draining the arm. This is draining the head. So what do you think this vein is called in 10? If it's draining the arm and head. Look on page 31. It's draining the arm and head. Brachiocephalic. So what I did here is I put both 10 arrows on because you have symmetrical counterparts on the venous side. Right brachiocephalic vein, 38R. Left brachiocephalic vein, 38L. You have symmetrical counterparts for brachiocephalic only in the veins. On the arteries, there's only one, and it's on the right. So on the arteries, you call it brachiocephalic trunk, and you just got to know what's on the right. You remember that from last week?
Yeah.
Look on over number 3 on the left column if you want a reminder. Everybody got it? When the two brachiocephalic veins merge, it becomes a superhighway we call superior vena cava in dark blue. 37. But look at the sequence that I'm doing this, from the extremities back to the heart. This is the guy behind the legs and arms over there. This is the left cephalic vein, 43L. Notice it goes deep at the clavicle. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Notice that it's running on top of the muscles. Do you guys know where superficial veins are running?
On top of the muscle.
Good. Hypodermis. They're running in the hypodermis, which is why when you want to take a blood sample, you usually use the median cubital vein, and all you need is a hypodermic needle. Because you just got to barely go into the hypodermis to hit the median cubital vein, because the superficial veins are running in the hypodermis on top of the muscle. All right, so when it goes deep at the clavicle, we got a little bit of left subclavian vein, 41L. We got the left internal jugular vein, 39L. Someone tell me what the green one is.
Oh.
Huh? Because I just covered this about 40 seconds ago. It is, good, that's 40L, left external jugular vein. If a manufacturer includes it, it's going to come in lateral to the internal. Internal's medial, external's lateral.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Everybody got it? The freeway, though, does not change names until the internal jugular vein merges. So this is still subclavian here. It's here that it changes names to left brachiocephalic vein. 38L. And then here's 38R. And when they merge, it's 37, superior vena cava. Everybody got it? This is this guy we hear by the door. Same color arrows. This manufacturer does not include external jugular veins. So a lot of manufacturers will not even include external jugular veins. But when they do, it's going to be lateral. Are we clear?
Okay.
All the rest of the arrows are the same. Do I need to go over these? Same color arrows as the previous slides. Everybody got this? All right, don't worry about these two over here. This arm is so far off of anatomical position that it's just going to be confusing. So don't worry about these two guys. But this is right axillary vein in yellow, 42R. Here's right cephalic vein, 43R in red. When it goes deep, it changes names to right subclavian vein, 41R. This manufacturer only includes internal jugular veins, so this is 39R. When it merges, it's brachiocephalic vein, 38R and 10. And blue is 37. Superior vena cava.
Where's that orange one? The first orange one.
Everybody got it?
The right subclavian vein is the tan?
No. Orange.
Thank you. What's the tan?
Brachiocephalic.
Thank you.
Right subclavian.
Everybody got this?
Right subclavian?
Can I go on?
Yes.
Same color arrows. The orange is subclavians, the light blue is internal jugulars.
What's that red one? Anyone know the red one? 43L?
Question?
It's 43L or R on that red one.
The red one is
R?
43L, that's left.
So then, oh, this is the other side, that's why. I was late, oh my god, fuck, I need a larger.
Everybody got this? Can I move on?
Yeah.
All right, we're ready to go
Still a little bit of time.
below the diaphragm. We're going to go below the dashed line,
Okay.
and we're going to do the lower arteries first. Here's the diaphragm. There are 5 types of arteries that come off the descending abdominal aorta, and only 5. And that's A, B, C, D, and E.
Is it gonna be just easier once we?
Look at that, it looks like I'm writing in Japanese. Okay, the dashed line is the diaphragm, so this is 13. Descending thoracic aorta. From the dashed line all the way down to here is 15. Thoracic abdominal aorta. All the way from the diaphragm down to where it splits. Everybody got that? Everybody got the 5 types of arteries that come off the descending abdominal aorta?
Yes. Okay.
The first one that comes off there that I wrote down as A is the celiac trunk. 16. It actually comes off right as soon as the aorta appears out from underneath the diaphragm. Boom, and then you got the celiac trunk, 16. That is the green arrow. 15 is the pink arrow. But the first one that came out is the green celiac trunk. What does the word trunk mean?
Where it comes together? Oh.
Same thing as common. It's fused and it's going to split.
So it comes together?
Well, actually, on the venous side, yes, but on the arterial side, it's where it's going to split. It's already together, that's why we call it a trunk.
So is that a half a point?
Yeah, that would be a half a point. So the celiac trunk is all together, it's going to split into 3. What you need to write over here next to this section is the liver is always on the right, spleen is always on the left. Liver is always on the right, spleen is always on the left.
Okay.
Liver is always on the right, this is anterior view. Spleen is always on the left. So thus, on this, I have enough information to make it fair to ask any of the 3 branches of the celiac trunk. Going to the right, going to the liver, is the common hepatic artery, 17. That's going to the right. What's going to the left is 18, the splenic artery. Which means the third one is fair game, even though there's no stomach there. Just from the process of elimination, that's 19, left gastric artery. Yes, there is a right one, but it's not on your page 30. But that's why there's the word left there. There is a symmetrical counterpart. You just have to know about the left gastric artery. Everybody got it?
Is that the dark blue one?
That's a dark blue, because it's the one that's left.
Okay.
Everybody got it?
Uh,
In 10 is the second one, what would be B? If you wrote down B like I had it on this page, that's superior mesenteric, it's huge. The reason why it's huge is that it supplies the first half of the large intestine and 20 feet, the small intestine. It's huge. Everybody got these arrows then?
No. Can you name them, please?
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
awesome. Okay.
Any questions? This is off the guy that's behind the door now. Okay. 15, 16. And this, just having 3 nubs, is not enough information. I'm not going to ask the 3 branches of the celiac trunk when it's just 3 nubs.
Oh, cool.
So don't worry about it. Don't even label it. Just leave it alone.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask branches of the celiac trunk if you don't have enough information. If I ask any of the branches of the celiac trunk, you have enough information, and you can bitch if you want, but it won't change anything.
Okay.
If I pick any of these, oh man, I should be able to give you those points back. 20 is the 10 one. Okay, everybody got it? By the way, these vertical lines up here on the top, that's the diaphragm. Look at how celiac trunk, boom, as soon as the aorta appears underneath the diaphragm, celiac trunk is right there. Boom. Everybody see that?
Yes.
All right, duodenum, spleen, and pancreas. That purple guy on the right is the spleen. This is an anterior view. This is posterior view, which means right is right, left is left in posterior, correct? 16, where it's all together in one, it's about to split into 3. That's a celiac trunk. Going to the right, because right is right in posterior view, is the common hepatic artery, 17. In yellow. Light blue is 18, splenic artery going to the spleen. Left is left, posterior view. And blue is the left gastric artery on the process of elimination. That's a fair question. There's actually 2 hints, especially if you're taking your lab exams on color-coded models. You need to take advantage of it. I took my lab exams off cadavers, and it wasn't color-coded. Do you see these colors right here? This is referred to as the hepatic triad. I'm going to jump ahead to something I'm going to cover next week on page 34. Look on page 34. Everybody there? Right in the middle of the page where it says liver. Is everybody there?
Yes.
Do you see where it says portal triad? In the liver, there are these tiny track of 3 tubes, and they're color-coded. Next to branch of hepatic artery, write red. Next to branch of hepatic portal vein, write purple. Next to branch of bile duct, write green. Red, purple, green. And they're microscopic in portal triads, but they all coalesce in the liver until it comes out to here. Red, purple, green. This is branch of the hepatic artery. This is the common hepatic artery. This is branch of the hepatic portal vein. This is the hepatic portal vein. That says branch of a bile duct. This is the common bile duct. This is the hepatic triad, where all those come together and they're all color-coded for you. Aren't you glad you're not taking your lab exams on cadavers?
Yes.
Especially when cadavers have all this abnormality and pathology, and you still have to name the stuff and spell it correctly. Everybody got these? So this is why this is enough information. Number 1, it should say posterior view. You know this is going to the right, but also you can see the hepatic triad. That's a common hepatic artery. Everybody get that? Or did that not make any difference? If it doesn't make a difference, I'm not going to say it. It makes a difference?
Yes.
It makes a big difference.
Okay, this is, you should write anterior view on this. So we can't see the celiac trunk, but we can see its 3 branches. Common hepatic 17 is yellow, 18 is light blue, 19 is dark blue. All right, are we ready to move on? Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
All right, so there's 5 types of vessels that come off the descending abdominal aorta 15, which is pink. The first one is 16. The second one is 20.
Okay.
The third one is 21, R and L, going to the kidneys, and that's in yellow. 21.
So this is the anterior view, so this is going to be.
Just underneath them are the right and left testicular or ovarian arteries, 22. All right, everybody. All the models, you can tell whether it's a boy or a girl. So there's no answer for which you can say both. Okay?
Oh, okay.
It's either testicular or ovarian, and it should be obvious. For example, if you look at this model, even though this model doesn't show any junk, if this was ovarian, it'd already be turning in because the ovaries are about here in the pelvic arch. It would be about here turning in. The fact that it's going south, this is a dude. These are testicular arteries. Everybody got it? And I'll just give you a little hint. This room is mostly male models. It's like Zoolander.
Where would it be going if it was the female?
It would be going to the ovaries, and it'd already be turning in right here because the ovaries are about right here.
Okay.
These are going south. Everybody got it? Any questions? If you're gonna guess testicular, because I think there's only one female model for which you can see ovarian arteries. Okay? So that's fourth. Light blue is fourth. Dark blue is fifth. The inferior mesenteric artery, which is small, 23. It's small because it's only supplying the second half of the large intestine. If you just remember the 5 and remember the 5 in order, you don't even have to study the models, people. Everybody look at me. If you just remember the 5 in order, you don't even have to study the models in abdominal arteries. You can recognize it. Like in this one. First one is what? Celiac trunk, 16. Second one is what? Superior mesenteric, 20. Third is what? Right and left renals, 21. Next is what? These are right and left testiculars as well. If you look at that model, he's got junk. So that's 22. Fifth is what? 23, inferior mesenteric. Celiac trunk, superior mesenteric, the renals, the gonadals, inferior mesenteric. That's the 5 in order. If you have that down, you don't have to study the models. You can just count. Everybody able to count? Maybe not this afternoon.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow you can count.
How high are we counting?
Like this. This is the descending abdominal aorta. Up here's the diaphragm. Look, as soon as that aorta appears, you got the celiac trunk. Second, superior mesenteric. Third, the renals. Fourth, the testiculars, because this model has a prostate. I don't know any females that have a prostate. And fifth, down at the very bottom, is inferior mesenteric. You just have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're not guessing.
Okay.
Everybody got it?
Are we going to be allowed to touch?
Dark blue is
touch
23,
these?
inferior mesenteric. What's that?
Are we going to be allowed to touch them, like so
No.
we can count them? Or trace it with our
If
finger?
it has pins, you can't touch it. You can point at it with your eyes.
Okay. I'll try my best.
Everybody got these?
Yeah. Or maybe a pointer.
All right, we're ready to go down to the lower portion of the body. Everybody see that this model behind the door is male? Gotta hope so. All right, the descending abdominal aorta 50 ends where it splits into common iliac arteries, which is 24. What does common mean?
They fuse together like
Fuse
a
is going to
trunk.
split. It splits into internal iliacs, which are supplying the pelvic cavity. That's 25.
Oh my god, and then it splits again?
And external iliacs in green, 26. 26 is way bigger than 25. I'm going to stop on the left side and only do the right leg from here. Way bigger because the internals are only supplying the pelvic cavity and the externals going all the way to the toes. It's supplying the whole leg all the way to the toes. So that's why the external iliac artery is way bigger.
Larger.
Everybody got it?
Mhm.
Any questions?
There is a penis, yeah.
All right. Same color arrows on this model. This is a lower abdominal model. Do I have to go over these?
No.
Same as the last slide.
Yeah.
Down there at the bottom, that's urinary bladder. And just underneath that urinary bladder is this purple prostate. That's why you know these are male. These are testicular arteries and veins. Because this guy has a prostate. Okay, this is the medium-sized guys. The half-size models that we use for muscles don't have internal iliacs. They don't bother with the internal iliacs, they only show the external iliacs in green. Everybody got these?
Yeah.
Now, what I want you to look at, and I want you to engage this, do you guys remember the femoral triangle when we were doing muscles? The femoral triangle?
Yes.
On one side you have the iliopsoas, on the other side you have the pectineus.
Mm-hmm.
This is, all right. See this? You can see that the external iliac enters the femoral triangle before it leaves its femoral artery. External iliac enters the triangle, femoral leaves the triangle.
Okay.
External iliac enters the femoral triangle, femoral artery leaves the femoral triangle. Okay. Up at the very top, pink is 15 again. Dark blue is 23. It splits into 24 RNL. Each 24 splits into internal 25s and external 26. And you see how the external iliac enters the femoral triangle. Everybody see the femoral triangle in this model?
Is the split hidden on there?
What's that?
Is the split hidden on there?
For the external and internal iliacs?
No, for 23 and 24. Where is the split?
Well, 23 is the inferior mesenteric.
Oh, okay.
This is the split of the two right and left
Okay.
common iliacs.
And then where's the next split?
Okay, let's just do the left side. It splits into this blue one and this green one.
Oh, okay, so that like white squiggly thing is kind of over the splitting area?
Well, that's the ureter, but it's on the red thing that's to the left of it.
Oh, okay.
Same thing here, you could barely see it.
Oh, okay. Okay. It seemed like one. It's just cut off. Sure. Give me a while.
Okay. Everybody got these? This is all we've covered so far. We're heading down to the foot though.
Okay.
Everybody got these? It's the same color arrows.
Yes.
Everybody remember your colors?
Yeah.
Or is that gotta wait till tomorrow? All right. There's gonna be some lanes that split off, and you can see it here. And it actually comes out in the femoral triangle that feeds the hip, ball, and socket joint. So that's what this little spur is right here. It's gonna feed the hip, ball, and socket joint. When those lanes come off in the femoral triangle, the freeway changes names to femoral artery 27. So after those lanes split off, in pink is right and left femoral arteries, 27. Femoral triangle's anterior. It finds a seam in the quadriceps, goes deep, goes right next to the femur, and comes out on the posterior side. What started in the anterior goes posterior. Here's the large left legs that I have on the cart right here. So these are all lefts.
Okay.
Left common iliac, left internal iliac, left external iliac. Same color arrows as we had before.
Internal, common, external.
Right, this is common, internal, and external iliacs. You can see the external iliac in green goes into the femoral triangle. Can you see that in this?
Yeah.
And it's in the shadow, but you can see some arteries coming off right here going to the hip, ball, and socket joint. After those lanes split off, it's called left femoral artery. 27R, 27L is the left. But you see how it's finding a seam in the quadriceps, and it's between the quadriceps and the adductors, and it's going deep. Everybody got these?
Left femoral artery.
Here's the medium-sized guys. You can see the lanes coming off right here. This is external iliac artery here. This is femoral down here after those lanes come off.
Oh, these
The
lanes.
external iliac enters the femoral triangle. Boom. Femoral artery leaves the femoral triangle. I've said that 4 times, didn't I?
Mhm.
Now this is the posterior left leg, so right posterior on this leg. This is where the popliteal fossa is. Now that's, I don't have an arrowhead on that, but that is where the left femoral artery ends. So this is where it begins. That's where the left femoral artery begins.
Okay.
That's where it ends. Everybody got it? Do you see the lanes coming off? This is behind the knee now. Do you see the lanes coming off? That's going to supply the femoral condyles. See those two?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you actually only see one. After those lanes come off, it's called popliteal artery. And this is L. So the purple is 28L. I'm doing rights on the whiteboard. Then do you see the lanes coming off supplying the tibial condyles? That's what it looks like. You got 2 coming off going to the femoral condyles. You got 2 coming off going to the tibial condyles. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Behind the knee. Femur and tibia. Behind the knee. Popliteal fossa. Once those lanes come off, then it's called the left posterior tibial artery, 29L. Again, I'm doing right. Now notice there are 2 light
Yeah.
blue arrows. Yes, because this is that exception. Even with lanes coming off ramps coming off, the freeway does not change names here. This is the exception. So even though you got one off ramp and you got another off ramp, the freeway changes, just stays the same, posterior tibial artery.
Okay.
Everybody got it? That's why I put the two light blue arrows on. This freeway doesn't change names. You guys look like you're just horsewhipped.
Horsewhipped?
Yeah, like
Caught
this.
equine whipped?
Everybody got
Are
these?
you like that?
The first off ramp is the anterior tibial artery. So this is 30 L on the screen. R on the whiteboard. Second one that comes off in dark blue is the fibular. It's going to go lateral. 31. So that's 31L.
I gotta get my left to right now. I don't understand that.
Same color arrows. This is on the half-size models.
Still a left light?
What's that?
Still a left light?
Yeah, these are all lefts. Posterior view.
Are you usually gonna use a left leg?
What's that?
Do you usually use the left leg?
Well, especially because all those large,
Ones are left.
they're all left.
Okay.
The large arms are all rights.
Okay.
You know, and the lattice down 4, it's okay. I won't judge you. You can just put your hand up there. Put your left. Put it up against the model. Oh yeah, this is left. It's better to get it right.
True.
Huh? Yes, the tibial is medial, but this is actually going to the anterior. This is going to the lateral, so that's why this is fibular. And there's the left anterior tibial artery going to the anterior. 30 L. Same thing here on the large legs. You can take off the extensor digitorum longus, you can see the anterior tibial artery. Okay, I don't have this, I should have taken all the muscles off, because this foot model, remember the foot model we used for the muscle ultrasound? It has a great left arterial plantar arch. So that's what this is, 32L. On the whiteboard is 32R.
So it's underneath.
It's underneath all those muscles, and I could take all those muscles off and boom, it's right there. Really good one. I just don't have a picture of it. Any questions? All right, do you guys need a break? Okay, make it short though. Get some caffeine.
Oh, okay.
3:02 on that clock, we're starting again, with or without you. 3:02.
Can you go back one image?
What's that?
Can you go back one image real quick?
Yeah. No, I know that, so I know it's the left that we're asking, because it's all the arrows, the same thing. Left. So then what are the two names? Why are there two arrows? Okay, I got a question for you.
What?
Okay, so since this is the left foot, it's gonna be left no matter where it is. What are the two separate arrows? The same name?
Because it's an arch.
Okay.
That goes like this. Oh, there it is.
Oh, so you're just showing that it is
Ooh,
on
there
both
it is.
sides, but they're still both left.
Uh-huh. Above left, it's all left foot, but it goes, it's like a horseshoe. That's why there's two arms.
Okay.